Hello my friend and welcome to my channel Zip. I hope that you are well. Let's now learn how to handle the Keypress event. Right now we can already close the model by clicking the close button and by clicking outside the model. But usually there is also a third way, and that's by hitting the escape key on the keyboard, right? And so this is actually a great use case to learn how to respond to keyboard event. So in order to listen for keyboard event, we still use add event listener because the Keypress event is simply just another type of event. Now, keyboard event are so-called global event because they do not happen on one specific element. And for global event like keyboard event, we usually list and on the whole document. So now let's write document. Okay, so that's the same document that we are used for the query selector. There is no difference. And so basically it is a big object which contains a bunch of methods for all kinds of stuff. And that include the add event listener method. Okay? So by using add event listener here on the document, we are basically listening for event everywhere on the page. So no matter where they happen on the page, they will always trigger the event handler that we are going to specify here. Now, right. Here, about the name of the event itself, there are actually three types of events for the keyboard. Okay? So, just press, look here. I have pressed the letter key. So there is a key down, the key press, and the key up. Key up, which is, so it is this one. This only happens when we lift our finger of the keyboard, basically, or of the key. Key press is fired continuously as we keep our finger on a certain key, and key down is fired as soon as we just press down the key. So here, what we choose here, it is key down in our case. And so usually, that is this the one that we use. So the name of this event is just key down, and this event will happen as soon as we hit any key on the keyboard. Okay? And then just like before, we specify our function. Oops, sorry for the it's different pop-up. It appears in the Visual Studio. So just as I mentioned here, so this function here will actually be executed for any key press that happens. So let me just prove that to you. So I will add here just console.log, and I will put here a key was pressed. Okay. Oops, of course, I will go to the console. And so now, if I press here any key, look, so I am in the page, I can have the page. If I press any key, I got this message here, key pressed. Do you see? I will choose another one, as you can see. I will keyboard. Okay? So it does not matter which one. However, in this case, we only want to close the pop-up when the escape key was pressed. Okay, so that's the key in the top left corner. I will show you in the demo. Of course, this is not a demo. It is in the top left corner of your keyboard. Okay. So how we will know which key was actually pressed? if this event here happens for all the key? Well, the information about which key was pressed will be stored in the event that is going to occur as soon as any key is pressed. So remember, as I hit any key here on the keyboard, a key down event is generated and our list and our function here. So our handler function is waiting for that event to happen. And any time that an event like this occurs, JavaScript does in fact generate an object. And that object contains all the information about the event itself. And we can then actually access that object on the event handler function. Good. So again, when an event happened, we can have access to information about the event in the event handler function, just like this one. Now, until this point, we have never looked at that event. We only just listened for it and then reacted to it, right? But this time, we actually need to look at the event object in order to figure out which key was pressed. And how we can do that? Well, what we need to do is to give this function here a parameter, and let's just call it E, like this. Okay, it stands for event. So we can also call it event if you want, or we could call it X or what you want. So it doesn't matter, but I like to call it just E, which that's again for event key. Okay? So then as the event occurs JavaScript, we call this function which the event object as an argument. And once more, this works because we do not call this function here ourselves, right? We do not call the function, we only define it here. So we say here, JavaScript, call function when a key down event happens. And when you do this, so please pass in the event object as an argument. Okay? And we will learn about the mechanic of this a bit little later. But it is probably still a good idea to already take note of this stuff that I am explaining. Anyway, now that you know why this function has access to an event, so to this E here, let's now actually take a look at it. So just simply relog it here to the console. Okay. So let's see. Delete the previous console log, of course. So let's see. So I repress here. And now, as you can see, you have this object keyboard event. So let's look on it. So maybe I will increase this one. So it is just an object that is generated by JavaScript. So you see that here in the console, it actually looks like the object that we generated ourselves previously. So with the key here and then a value for property and the value. And what matters here is basically the key, which, as I said, was enter. So I hit the enter key. Oops. Where is it? So let's repeat. I hit the enter key to see it. No, not here. Here, of course, in the web page. Okay, so I have hit the control key, and then this event was generated with the key property that equals to set to enter. So that's great information, because now when I hit the escape, let's see. As you can see, I have already directly here, key equal to escape now. Good. So I can, of course, use it for any key, yeah? So, of course, if I use it for G, I have used another key, G or A. As you can see, I have all the key here. Okay, so for the escape or the spacebar, you can use it for spacebar as you want. Okay, so in this case, since it was keyboard event, we got information about which key was pressed. So as you see, the information about the key, I was always getting it from this key property. Okay, we see it from here or from the object directly, no problem. So let's just log to the console here, e.key to see. Because remember, we use dot and then the property name to read the property from an object. Remember this. And so escape is now only the key that I pressed, or enter or shift or anything else. Okay? So let's see, before to continue, let's click to escape. Now we don't need to see the object. Oops, here of course. As you can see, I have it, enter, etc., etc. Good. Let's continue. And now that I know which key was actually pressed, I can use that information to actually close the model. It is the purpose whenever the escape key is pressed. So we can simply do here now. So let's remove this console.log. We can simply check if e.key strict equality equal to escape. Okay, and then again, let's just log to the console to see if it works or no. So console.log ESC was pressed. Okay, so let's see if it works or no. Now, if I hit any key, as you can see, you listen the keyboard I have. You listen, I do it, really. I have nothing here. Unless I hate the escape key. Yes, so now you see the message. Alright. So that's of course not what we want, but instead we want to close the model. So let's remove the console.log. We don't need it. However, I only want to close the model when the model is actually visible also, right? And how do we know if the model is currently invisible? Well, if the model contains the class hidden, it means that it is not visible. And so basically, when it does not contain the class hidden, it means that it is visible, and then that's the condition in which we want to close it. Alright. And so we talked in the last video about adding and removing class, but as I mentioned back, then we can also check if an element already has a certain class. And so now that becomes really handy, because now I can do this. So if the escape key is pressed, then we can now check if the model contains the hidden class. So another if, so if here, then model dot class list, and then dot contains method. And then again, we specify which class we want to check. It is hidden in this case. I hope that you understand what I have to do here. So if the model.class name contains the hidden class, it means that the model is currently hidden. And so in this condition, we actually don't want to do anything. We only want to close the model if it does not contain the hidden class, right? And so here we can once more invert that Boolean value by using this character, exclamation mark. Okay? So this note here is very important, as you probably start to see. So let's read this again. If the model does not contain the hidden class, then close the model, please. And so how do we close the model? Well, we can simply call this close model function. right? So let's do that. So we can use trackpads on now as you want, and now I will just call the close model function like this. Here I call it, of course. Okay, as you can see, I have called it here, not parentheses. There is difference because when this function here is executed, so this one here has then reached this line of course, some things need to happen. And what needs to happen is basically this code. So we could just copy the code inside, of course, the closed model here. So this code down here, but that's of course not what we want. Instead, you can simply use this function here again, and using means here to call it directly. So to execute the code that it is here, okay, in this function. So let's test this, and then we can improve the code even a little bit. So let's do it. So I have not saved it. So here now I have opened the model. Now I am going to press just any key. Any key, yeah? Oops. As you can see. As you can see, the model is gone for any key. So let's read this code a little bit. So basically, I will do again. As you can see, I am pressing any key. Yeah? Oops. No, not the cursor. Sorry, the mouse. I will press any key. The model doesn't go, but if I press escape, that's gone. So this basically means is if we press the key, the depressed key is is escape, and if the model does not contain the hidden class, then execute this function to close the model. Now notice how I just said if this, and then if this. So what I mean is that we can actually aggregate these two if statements together. Okay? So here what I will do, I can do here directly something like this. Just end here. Okay, I don't need this if here now. I can aggregate them together. And that's it. And so now it reads the exact the same way as before. So let's test. And now when I click any key, nothing but escape, it works perfectly. So now, if the model does not contain the class of hidden, then close the model. So give it another try to make sure that works perfectly. Beautiful. Any button. And with this, our model is actually feature completed. It works exactly as our demo here. Okay? Exactly the same thing. And so with this, we finish this very small second project. So once again, I hope you like this one, and I hope you can start to see the power of DOM manipulation, so that in the future we will be able to build anything you can imagine just with JavaScript. Now that is, of course, still a long way to go, but that's also why we have the next project, which is going to be a really nice project to basically train and reinforce most of the things that we already did in this project and two previous one. So the next project is going to be more like practice project, but I still believe it is very important to do that project in case you have the time. And believe me, it is by far the most exciting thing we have done yet in this course. Yeah, surprise. So I hope to see you very soon after we take a well-deserved break. So see you inshallah in the next video. Take your coffee or what you want and come back for the next days inshallah to start the new exciting project. Take care of us. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel Faisal Azib and follow me on Instagram faisal.checo. I tell you goodbye. Wassalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.